Hello, I am Dami Walex. I want to give you a very important update and something that happens to be a revolution in the financial, industry, and it's actually an evolution in the banking sector. Listening to this audio could change everything for you financially. It could transform everything as it used to be, and it could give you a better footing into a brighter financial future. And this is something you should not ignore. Yes, you can, but you shouldn't ignore, because if you do, later when you come to listen to this audio again, you might want to say, wow, I got this information, I did nothing about it. But that will not be your story, because this information I want to share with you is something quite legit and quite, strong, capable of changing the struggles into easy and free flow of wealth for you. I will make this audio as short as possible, but you need to pay attention. Let's go to the banking sector and the history of banking. Before we had traditional banks, and those that were using pen and paper for record keeping, passbook was the order of the day, and the long queues. If you remember that era, after that era came the new generation banks, and these ones did not, follow the pattern of the older banks. They started with the use of desktop computers for record keeping. After that era came the fintech banks, OPay, PamPay, MoneyPoint, Kuda, Providus, and all the rest. These fintech banks did not even pay attention to building offices around. They focused rather on efficient service delivery, and all correspondence with such banks are done right from the palm of your hands. And after this era of fintech banks, even though we are still in fintech bank era, but a new bank is coming up. A new form of banking is coming up. A new form of financial institution is coming up. And we call them neo banks. As I speak with you, currently there are 23 neo banks in the world. And I come to present to you one of such neo banks, Aurum Neobank. Aurum is spelled Aurum. And Aurum is a Latin word for gold. And this neobank I'm talking about will change everything for you, especially if you're in Africa, where it is a daily struggle to make ends to meet. You could actually get your money working for you. You could actually get a lot of things reset, and you live that dream you've always had of a better financial life and future. I'm going to tell you how I knew about this company. I was in my office on the 5th of August 2025, and I got a message: join this Zoom meeting now. It was an impromptu session. I joined because I was relatively free. And in that session, I saw that we were 14 on the group, and a white man was addressing the 14 of us. The moment he mentioned the investment, I tuned off. Why? Because I had been flogged, trying to get an opportunity to earn from the online space, and got my fingers burnt a number of times. One of those burnings was so strong as to even land me in the hospital. But eventually, when I got out, I told myself, thus far, no further. I'm not going to get involved in this again. Why am I now the one making an audio to tell you about something I found after I decided not to even try anyone again? The man mentioned something during the presentation, and he said, those behind Binance are behind this. That caught my attention, and I became curious to understand what he meant by that, because I've known Binance from inception, from 2017 when they started. And when they said those behind Binance are behind this, I had to switch on my microphone and asked him, hello, Can you repeat that sentence? He repeated the sentence. And I told him, that's a general sentence. Can you, specify who exactly? Then he mentioned Brian Benson. I decided to look him up. And what I found was quite amazing. I went on Google, typed in
Just
Brian
amazing.
Benson,
And for
put
Aurum,
Binance at the
what does it
back,
mean for you
and
having
then,
GBP on the board?
I saw some captions. And one of them said, Binance legend, Brian Benson, founder of Aurum. When I saw that, I got fascinated in whatever he was going to talk about. But made up my mind to look him up properly later, because that was the first time somebody is actually showing up to identify with an online business or online opportunity for income generation. So at the end of the day, the one of us in the 14 member group call also asked him, is Brian alive or dead? And he said Brian is very much alive, and he had Brian's phone number. He could call Brian to uh, see if he will be chance to speak with us on that particular Zoom call. Eventually make the call, and Brian responded, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
consenting to give two to
So
three
how do you,
minutes
when you're looking to
to
invest in a
talk about
company,
himself
especially in the
and what we
AI
are doing.
space, how do you separate
And
the
the moment
the
Brian gave his
research company
consent,
from the hype?
I switched on my screen recording to capture exactly what Brian will say so that I can get full information that day. And guess what? Brian came on board eventually, and he said, I'm pleased to meet you guys briefly and to chat with you and to talk about what we are doing. I am Brian Benson. My family knows me as this. My friends knows me as this. Binance, the banks knows me as this. And even the US government knows me as this. He brought out his international passport, and then he showed it to the camera. That was what caught my attention, because I saw somebody who is speaking like a sincere fellow. I saw somebody who was ready to identify with the business he's engaged in. I saw somebody who is taking charge and taking responsibility at the same time. So I decided that the business is as good as the person behind it. And I made up my mind to look up Brian Benson himself. So I went ahead to dig him up. And every detail I found about him
Yeah, for
gave
sure.
me
Sounds
more
super interesting.
confidence
And so
about
you said AI is
the
about
company is
AI
presiding
finance.
over. I
What
discovered
do
Brian
AI
Benson
do in
was born
finance now
in
that
Peru, Latin
you
America,
didn't expect?
and then he schooled in California. He got his first job at Morgan Stanley Bank in the USA. I checked his job description. He was their forex trader, and then he worked in Morgan Stanley Bank for 20 years. In 2017, when Binance was coming on board, the Binance team, approached him as a fintech product developer to come up and join Binance. And they actually told him in his offer letter, we cannot pay you what Morgan Stanley is paying you, but if you believe in what we are building, we can grow together. Brian decided to try out something new, to chart a new course beyond the monotony of trading he has been doing for the bank for several years. And then he joined Binance at inception, and he eventually became a managing director with authority over countries in Latin America. He had a huge online presence, and in fact, for Google to even call him legend, his contribution to Binance was so immense and impactful until the time he came up to become the CEO of Forum Foundation. And now coming to the real thing, Forum Foundation. What exactly are they involved in? According to Brian Benson himself, he would say in his own words, Aurum is an AI finance company. Aurum is an ecosystem. Aurum has an exchange, a neobank, a card program, meaning that they partnered with MasterCard and Visa card, and then they issue ATM card to every to their users, those who will request for it. The card is not free, and by an African calculation, it is also not cheap. But guess what? It works in over 180 countries of the world. It works everywhere. You can use it on POS machines, you can use it on ATM machines, and on like that. Now, they also created AI model robots that could help you generate income on their system. And every user is expected to pay a token of 20 USDT per year annually as an access fee to access the whole ecosystem. The company keeps developing new fintech products. And as I make this audio, they have about 15 products already. I am currently using three of them. And believe me, my finances have been seriously transformed. They have two categories of AI bots that trade for all their users. Some of them are custodian, meaning they take in your capital and hold it for the trades to be executed, and then they give you profits every day. You and the company share the proceeds of the profit daily. But they also have other type of bots that are non-custodian. These bots allow you to hold the funds, the capital you are using in your own hands. And you could keep it in any Web3 wallet of your own choice. And then you connect with their bots and you are able to generate steady, daily, passive income for yourself. Their bots have mastered the art of risk management, going in, 247 into the crypto market and all the other digital asset market to generate steady inflow of income for you. Not only that, when your profit is made in a day, according to the level of capital you are using, the company shares your profit with you. And there is a sharing ratio you can easily find on the company's website. The main website of the company is Aurum Bots Foundation. If you type that in your browser, you're going to get to the website of the company, Aurum Foundation. So they share your profit with you. And if you are someone who understands the power of leverage and the power of crowdfunding, you could get an additional income stream for yourself by helping to educate other people on the use of the fintech products and services of the company. And then the company is willing to share a fraction of all those tiny profits they take from every user in your team. They share a fraction with you every day, and that could become a major source of income for you. As I speak with you, I am 11 months old in the system. I'm in my 12th month presently, and I saw 24 months results of the company before I joined. And since this is an audio, it's impossible to begin to show evidence and all that. But if you see me personally, I could show you this. And as I also make this audio, I have been able to generate good income for myself, well over 30,000 USDT. And that makes a lot of sense. If you desire to change your financial situation, if you desire to transform your finances, if you desire a change, if you desire to challenge the status quo and earn well and live well, then you need to pay attention to this. Reach out to whoever sent this audio to you and then try as much as possible to get more details about the company. Believe me, you need to retire happy. You need to retire comfortable. You need to pay attention to the old man or woman you will eventually become. Because if you don't desire to put in something small to be able to take care of the old man and woman you will become, that old, feeble, retired, and vulnerable person you will eventually become. If you don't pay attention to that person now that you have the ability to, the energy to, and you could push effort in that direction to be able to do it later in life, you have no moral justification or moral standing to blame anybody else for following your footsteps and refusing to pity that old person you will become. So whether your own method is for retirement planning or your method is to work towards building a project, a capital project, or your method is simply wealth creation, whatever method you want to follow, Aurum is for you. And Aurum makes your journey of wealth creation a lot easier, a lot faster. Aurum Neobank is a vehicle you could use to achieve your dream. So see you at the top. Thank you so much for listening.